Parental leave is meant to ensure that parents can properly care for their newborn children. In the U.S., employees in most companies are entitled to 12 weeks of leave each year if they have the proper family or medical reasons. But this is not paid leave, meaning some families can't afford to take this time off, and 12 weeks is not adequate time for new parents to physically and mentally recover from pregnancy and childbirth, as well as give their newborn proper attention and care.
According to a 2016 study by Statistica, the U.S. is the only country part of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development that doesn't guarantee any paid leave. The paid leave varies for each company, if it's even offered, which makes it incredibly difficult for parents to balance their work and family lives effectively. For reference, Sweden offers partial paid leave for both parents, typically around 80% of their regular salary.
But in the United States, more than 3 in 4 people don't have access to paid leave at all. Even worse, only 1 in 20 of the lowest earning 10% of workers have access to paid family leave. Even if a company provides a long leave, it could be unpaid, causing many parents to end up barely taking any time off because they cannot afford to go unpaid for so long.
This chart shows how much maternity leave mothers in the U.S. took in 2023. Here you can see that mothers only used over 9 weeks of their leave 25% of the time. 33% of the time, mothers didn't take any leave. Parents are forced to stay in work and neglect their child's developmental needs because they need to make a living. We must implement more family-friendly parental leave policies in order to better accommodate and support American families.
Some accommodations would be a generous enough family leave so that parents have time to bond and to establish a breastfeeding relationship. And to caregive for the infant when the infant is the most vulnerable. So a lot of experts around the world recommend about 5 to 6 months as being kind of an optimal amount of leave time. The standard in the States is much more like 6 weeks.
But parental leave alone isn't enough support for our youth. Child welfare also depends on the accessibility and affordability of childcare, which is not accessible or affordable right now.
The United States uses a smaller share of its GDP to childcare compared to other wealthy countries. We're talking about around $500 per toddler annually, while other countries, like those in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, invest an average of $14,436. It's time for a change that ensures our childcare system meets international standards and truly supports American families. Childcare is essential as scientifically young children have been proven to need an adult around that can stimulate their mind so their brain can develop efficiently and ensure that they keep pace with their peers.
In an article written by Claire Kane Miller titled How Other Nations Pay for Childcare, the U.S. is an Outlier, she writes, "Rich families can more easily afford high-quality care, which contributes to achievement gaps as early as kindergarten. Research in the United States shows that children are less likely to have formal childcare if their parents are low earners, Hispanic, or aren't college graduates. Universal programs have been shown to shrink the gap in kindergarten readiness. Yet in the United States, 1 in 3 American children start kindergarten without any preschool at all."
Scarce government spending isn't the only issue. Unfortunately, the already present challenges of childcare have been worsened by COVID-19.
You see, parents and childcare providers were having a tough time even before this pandemic hit our country. In my district, for example, parents can't find enough people to provide quality and affordable childcare, and there's an overwhelming demand and just not enough care available.
Representative Finkenauer highlights the struggles families in the United States face in search of affordable childcare due to the significantly greater costs from the pandemic. If anything, childcare costs should have been cut due to lower demand since everyone was at home.
But because of the pandemic, many childcare providers quit and childcare centers shut down. Overall, the U.S. lost about 20% of its childcare centers. With this pie chart, you can see that 72% of childcare services have become more expensive due to the increased safety precautions nationwide. Only 6% saw a decrease, while the remaining 22% stayed the same. In 2021, childcare cost an average of $10,600. This is simply unaffordable for many families, resulting in many parents, especially women, to quit the workforce so they can care for their children.
As we envision the future of the United States, we should shift our focus to the well-being of the youth of our country. We can push for federal policies that not only standardize parental laws, but enhance them, ensuring that all families, regardless of their circumstances, have access to a support system during the early stages of their child's birth. Along with this, we can have a targeted increase in public investment dedicated to childcare. This investment can aim to get rid of the unaffordability of childcare, making it more accessible to hundreds of thousands of families. So, let's make parental leave fair and childcare accessible. If we focus on youth welfare, we can build a future that's stronger for all of us.